Hey everyone, welcome. We're going to give everybody about one more minute to join, and we'll be respectful of your time, and then we'll get started. But one more minute, and we will get rolling.
It occurs to me, Todd, this skyline looks very similar to what's on the banner behind you.
Yeah, it's a bit maybe an AI interpretation of Chicago there, but yeah. All right. My clock says we should get started, and hey, we want to finish on time, on budget. Thank you all for joining us today, and we're going to talk about Microsoft Fabric, which is a pretty interesting topic in itself, and particularly how it can work with nonprofits. Give you a little bit of background on myself and the company, and then I'll get out of the way and let our super smart speakers dive into Fabric here. So myself, quick intro, and I'm not making you look at my face on the slide here. My name's Todd Johnson. I'm based in Chicago, which is a nice winter snowy place to be today. And then you'll hear it a bit from Thomas and Paul, and they are our rock star technical folks. And we are part of Formus Pro. And so if you haven't heard us before, I give just a little background on the company. And I'll start with our mission, right? And I always like to share this with people that, hey, we're focused on technology for good, which is sort of a simplified way of saying we take this really interesting, complex technology from Microsoft, figured out how to use that in ways that help our clients, organizations fulfill their mission. And it's really sort of a rewarding thing to be able to see how we can take the latest and greatest technology, how that can change your business processes, enable new things, and basically just let you focus on what the real goals of your organization are, right? A little more background on us, so we are proudly a Microsoft partner. So why that's important, that Microsoft is all that we do. And so that means that our resources are as deep as you're going to find anywhere in this. It's not like, we're switching technologies from project to project. We've been at this for years and years. And that business applications designation, that's something we're pretty proud of. That's not something that Microsoft sort of just hands out like Halloween candy. You have to earn that, and through so there's a pretty rigorous vetting process we have to go through every year. Involves our folks taking these exams and getting these certifications, and we got to have customers that will raise their hands and say, yeah. This team knows what they're talking about, and so we're pretty proud of that. And I think it's a good testament to the skill set we have and what we can do for our clients. So focus on Microsoft Stack, and and you see some of their products that we work with. But today we're talking about Microsoft Fabric, which is a little bit new to the mix here, but it's got some pretty compelling things you're going to hear about. The company itself, we've been around a little over 12 years, headquartered in the UK, have expanded that presence here in the US as well. And very much a focus on nonprofits. So yeah, we certainly have a number of customers there. You'll certainly spot some commercial customers, but we really enjoy and have a sweet spot around helping some of our nonprofit clients, and so you'll see some of that there. So with that, I'm going to get out of the way, and I think Thomas, I'll hand it over to you, and you can tell us, start us down the Fabric journey here.
Yeah, sure. So just to start off, my name is Thomas Cunningham. I am the data and AI practice lead at Formus Pro. I've worked for Formus Pro for about 7 years now, and kind of my day-to-day responsibilities are kind of like looking after our bespoke developments, looking after our data engineering, and where applicable, kind of working with AI as well, which is great. So we're going to be doing this webinar in two parts, and for part one, I'm going to be kind of giving an overview of what Microsoft Fabric is. This is going to include kind of where it fits into the data and analytics world, why it might be something that could be of benefit to your nonprofit, and then a bit about kind of what getting started with it can actually look like.
And then one more thing for you, everyone here, I should have mentioned before, Thomas. If you have questions along the way, please. So there's a Q&A tab. click on that, submit your questions there. We'll try and track those. We'll probably save those to the end if we have some time, but if we don't get to them in the call, we're happy to follow up. But yeah, we absolutely wanted to hear your questions there as well. So
Cheers, Todd. Yeah, so to begin, I just want to make sure kind of everyone understands what we mean when we talk about a data and analytics platform. So I put some points here that I think kind of explain some of the main concepts that make up a platform like Fabric. So kind of just to start off, kind of the key thing really is a centralized data ecosystem. So an analytics and data platform kind of serves as the foundation for all of our data activities. And it centralizes data from various sources into one ecosystem, eliminating silos and enabling a unified view of the organization's information. And then kind of another really key part of that is, it gives you data integration as well. So if you think of this as a kind of like a translator for data, it takes data from multiple sources like databases, APIs, and files, and standardizes it so that it's compatible and ready for analysis. This ensures that we're not just gathering data, but we're also making it useful as well. So a platform like this should also give you a scalable infrastructure as well. So, as organizations grow, so does the volume and complexity of data. A good analytics platform scales seamlessly, whether we're processing millions or even billions of data points, and supports real-time and batch processing as well as needed. It should also kind of enable advanced analytics as well. So beyond simple reporting, these platforms allow us to kind of unlock deeper insights, from building predictive models to deploying AI and machine learning algorithms. They help us answer importantly not just what happened, but also what will happen and also how we can act on it. Another kind of lesser thought of aspect as well is real-time insights. So, in today's kind of fast-paced world, delayed insights can easily mean missed opportunities. With real-time dashboards and live data streams, we can monitor and react to trends as they happen, whether it's detecting fraud or just, optimizing operations. And then kind of finally, and absolutely not to be underestimated, there's security and governance as well. So, sounds cheesy, but, with great data comes great responsibility. These platforms, they should be designed to be kind of robust and have security protocols that ensure that data is protected. They also, need to support governance policies to maintain compliance with regulations like GDPR in Europe and HIPAA, ensuring data is accessed responsibly. So this all hopefully sounds great, but why should your non-profit organization care about it? And how can it be applied for you? So kind of my first point here is, it can optimize your fundraising efforts. So fundraising is the lifeblood of most nonprofits, and a data platform can revolutionize how you approach it. By analyzing donor trends and preferences, you can tailor campaigns to resonate more deeply. Predictive analytics can help you identify high potential donors, ensuring that your efforts are focused where they'll have the most impact. And with performance tracking, you can refine your campaigns to maximize every pound or dollar spent. You can also enhance your program's effectiveness. So, your mission is at the heart of what you do, and data helps you deliver on that most effectively. With analytics, you can measure the real impact of your programs, what's working, what isn't, and where you can do better. It also allows you to allocate resources strategically, ensuring that you reach as many people as possible whilst focusing on the areas of greatest need. It can also, boost operational efficiency as well. So non-profits often operate with limited resources and budget, so efficiency is really key. A data platform automates tasks like reporting and data entry, freeing up your teams to focus on what matters most, which is serving your communities. It also gives you a clear view of your operations, helping you identify inefficiencies and streamline workflows for better productivity. It also helps you improve stakeholder reporting as well. So transparency is critical to maintaining trust with donors, boards, regulatory agencies. A data platform simplifies reporting by providing accurate, up-to-date information in visually engaging formats. It can easily show you the impact of funding, back your success stories with hard data, and build credibility with consistent and transparent reporting. It also, and this isn't just true for non-profits, but it can drive better decision making, which is one of the really kind of key benefits. So the non-profit sector is dynamic, quick, so informed decisions can make up the difference. Real-time data allows you to act proactively rather than reactively, and with predictive analytics, we can foresee challenges or opportunities, whether that's changes in community needs or funding gaps. And the accessibility of the insights ensure that everyone from leadership to program staff can make data-driven decisions. Something that's really key to nonprofits as well is strengthening community engagement. So strong relationships with your communities are vital. Data platforms allow you to better understand the needs of those you serve, as well as the preferences of donors and volunteers. It allows you to do things like personalized outreach efforts, ensuring every interaction feels meaningful, and track feedback to continuously improve your program and services. Also, there's supporting long-term sustainability. So, to ensure that your nonprofit doesn't just thrive in the short term, but in the long term, you need to be able to plan effectively. So by analysing trends and historical data, a data platform can help you forecast future needs, whether that's financial, operational, or community focused. This helps you align resources with your strategic goals, build resilience against potential challenges in the future. And then finally, again, it helps you ensure your data security and compliance. So as holders of what's clearly really sensitive donor and beneficiary information, you have a responsibility to protect it. A robust data platform ensures secure storage and compliance with privacy regulations like GDPR and HIPAA. This not only safeguards trust, but also ensures you meet your legal obligations as well. So that was some ways in which a data and analytics platform can benefit nonprofits. But hopefully now wondering, how does Fabric relate to this, and what capabilities does it have around it? And I put here some of the key things that Fabric can do that make it a first-class data and analytics platform. So first and foremost, which is the key to kind of most, data platforms, it gives you kind of a unified data and analytics solution. So Microsoft Fabric is designed as a one-stop solution for managing and analyzing data. It integrates everything, data engineering, data science, integration, real-time analytics, and business intelligence into a single platform. This eliminates the need to juggle multiple tools and streamlines workflows across teams. It's also powered by this thing called OneLake as well. So, at its core is OneLake, which is a centralized data lake that acts as this single source of truth for all organizational data. It can store both structured and unstructured data as well, making it easier for everyone in the organization to access and analyze the same data seamlessly. And as with a lot of Microsoft products, you get end-to-end integration with the Microsoft ecosystem. So Fabric is deeply integrated into it. If you're already using tools like Power BI, Azure Synapse, Microsoft 365, or hopefully Dynamics 365 as well, it connects effortlessly. It's got all those native connectors there already. This integration enhances productivity by allowing you to work with the data directly in the tools that you're already using. Something that's obviously really essential at the moment, especially over the last year or so, is having AI-driven capabilities as well. So this is really one of the standout features that Fabric has. So it's got built-in machine learning and AI models. Fabric enables kind of predictive analytics and automated insights. You can even query data in plain language, making it easier for non-technical users to explore and interpret data. And I think the value of that kind of can't be underestimated. You've got all that data there. You don't need a data scientist to be able to access it. You can have almost anyone in your organization with the right permissions kind of just write out a query in natural language and understand what's there. There's real-time data processing as well. So Fabric supports real-time ingestion and analytics, which is just a game changer for cases like monitoring IoT devices, if that's something you do. Managing live dashboards or tracking critical metrics as they happen. This, really ensures that organizations can respond to changes kind of instantly as they happen. It also has, and I think this is another kind of real, not quite USP for Fabric, but something that sets it apart. It's got both no code and pro code options as well. So, it's really designed to be flexible. For business users, this means that, you've got no code tools like Power BI for easy data visualization, and hopefully something you're already familiar with. For developers and data scientists, though, it provides robust pro code environments for building advanced models and solutions, which, can just make it suitable for teams of whatever their skill level is. It's also cost efficient and scalable as well. So from a cost perspective, Fabric simplifies things with a unified billing model, which again, I think is something that really sets it apart. This billing model just covers all of its services. And because it's built on Microsoft's scalable cloud infrastructure, it can grow with your needs, whether you're dealing with, terabytes or even petabytes of data, which, is crazy to think that one platform can kind of do both of those things. It's also got enterprise-grade security and governance as well. So, again, security and compliance are priorities, especially in Fabric. It integrates with Microsoft Purview, if you've heard of that, for governance, ensuring the data access is controlled and compliant with regulations. It's got features like role-based access and encryption to make sure that your data is always safe.
One thing, just an observation, Thomas, is that to me one of the highlights here is that you said it, but unified, right? And so a lot of these things that the functions in here, you could piece all this together before, but it was a lot of work. And so some of the solutions and scenarios we're talking about today, there's been tool sets in the market for a while that you can do this. Fabric is sort of the evolution of that to bring that all together into one place. Makes it much easier to build these complex solutions that before it was a lot of effort to actually get those all wired together correctly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's actually something I'm about to talk about next. Before even Microsoft offered these things individually, but now you've kind of got them all in one platform. It's just one place to go for all of it. So yeah, I think one of the really key things that Fabric provides is that it actually packages all of these tools as a software as a service product, whereas kind of most similar products, I'd say probably the majority on the market, are actually platform as a service, or at the very least don't collect together all of the things that you need for kind of data engineering and analytics. So if you're not familiar with these terms, what this means with Fabric is that it's effectively entirely managed for you. So, with no need for kind of installation or management, it really just means that it's simpler and typically as well, much cheaper overall. So to kind of help illustrate some of this, I'm going to actually compare Fabric with Microsoft's PaaS, platform as a service alternative, which is the Synapse brand, and explain kind of what are some of the benefits that you get with Fabric over that for being a SaaS platform. So just to kind of say again, kind of first and foremost, you get simplified setup and management. So, with Fabric as a SaaS solution, you don't have to worry about setting up or managing infrastructure. It's fully managed by Microsoft, so you can focus on using the platform instead of maintaining it. And this eliminates operational overhead that typically comes with PaaS solutions like Synapse, where you're responsible for configuring and maintaining the environment. That also means that you kind of get a fast time to value. So one of the biggest advantages with SaaS is the ability to just get started immediately. If you've heard about Fabric and you think it's an exciting technology, or if you like what you've heard so far, you're not sat there for several days or even weeks kind of setting up this environment. You've got it available to you straight away, and you can start making use of it. It comes with like several ready-to-use kind of pre-configured tools and features, which means that you can just kind of start getting insights on day one. Rather than spending weeks or months even, setting up and integrating components like you would with Synapse. Another thing as well, which isn't true for necessarily all SaaS platforms, but it is for Fabric, is that you get a unified experience across all of the services as well. So Fabric provides a kind of a fully integrated platform for data integration, but then also storage and analytics and visualization as well. This unified experience just makes workflows really seamless. So with Synapse as a platform as a service instead, you often need to combine other tools like Azure Data Factory or Power BI, which can lead to inefficiencies and inconsistencies that you wouldn't have otherwise. You also, and again, I think this is another really strong benefit, you get scalability as well without complexity. You don't need to think about things like horizontal versus vertical scaling or anything like that. Fabric just scales automatically and adjusts kind of the resources that it has available based on your needs. And this, removes the complexity of manually scaling up or down, which is so often required with a PaaS platform. And it ensures that your performance just remains smooth, even as your data grows. You also get a lower total cost of ownership as well. So because Fabric is a SaaS platform, it reduces the costs associated with maintaining and patching infrastructure. And also, you get a single subscription model, which means that you avoid fragmented billing, which often comes with PaaS solutions, where each service incurs separate charges, which can make it really difficult to keep track of, and you can find yourself spending more money or not being able to kind of optimize your spending just because of that fragmentation. Whereas with this, it's just all in the single model. You also, once again, get built-in security compliance as well. So security and compliance are entirely managed by Microsoft within Fabric. So this means that your updates, your patches, and certifications just happen automatically, which saves your team time and ensures that you're always up to date with the latest standards. With PaaS solutions, these responsibilities would often instead just fall on your shoulders, and it's an important thing to get right. You can't really afford to get it wrong. You also get democratized data access as well. So this, kind of comes down to the fragmentation again. So Fabric is designed for users of all skill levels, whether you're working as a business analyst or a developer. You can access and work with the platform without needing deep expertise in the infrastructure. PaaS solutions, again, like Synapse, like some of the other options out there on the market, often require specialized skills to understand kind of how each of those components work and how to configure and use them effectively. You also get integration with AI and automation as well. So these are just built in and ready to use with Fabric. Unlike elsewhere, there's no need to kind of integrate separate machine learning tools or develop custom solutions to get these advantages. This dramatically reduces the time and complexity involved in implementing like advanced analytics compared to a PaaS offering like Synapse. And just to kind of really drive it home, as I said, you get reduced fragmentation as well. So PaaS solutions like Synapse often require additional tools to get the full functionality that you'd otherwise get with Fabric. So it could be, using Azure Data Factory for data pipelines or using Databricks for doing your advanced analytics. With Fabric, everything you need is already consolidated into one platform, reducing integration headaches and ensuring a more streamlined experience. And then finally, hopefully an advantage that kind of everyone, assumes comes with a SaaS platform is that it's already kind of future-proof. So as a SaaS solution, Fabric is just continuously being updated by Microsoft, ensuring you always have access to the latest features and innovations. With a PaaS platform like Synapse, instead you're responsible for the updates, and that can mean that you can be faced with really complex migrations from kind of an older version to a newer version when when a new one gets released, which can put you off doing the upgrade and ultimately kind of cost you time. So hopefully, what I've spoken about has helped you understand kind of what Fabric is, where it fits in, and also kind of most importantly, what it could potentially offer you as well. So to finish up, I'm just going to talk a bit about kind of what a typical Fabric implementation can look like at an organization that might be new to data and analytics, or is using perhaps a less kind of modern solution for it. So the first step Forms Pro would take with implementing Microsoft Fabric is to just understand where your organization kind of stands in terms of data usage. So we begin this by conducting a thorough assessment of your current data infrastructure and processes. This would be a combination of kind of hosting workshops with yourselves or kind of looking at what, firsthand at what you've got present. This entails kind of identifying any challenges that you're facing or opportunities where perhaps data can play a role in solving problems and driving growth. For example, like, are you struggling with slow decision making, or is there a gap in understanding customer behavior? By clearly defining these use cases, we can then ensure that Fabric is tailored to meet your organization's specific needs. With that done, we then look at designing the data architecture and the strategy. So once we understand these goals, we'll design this architecture, which will then serve as the backbone of your data platform. And this means figuring out where and how your data will be used and stored and processed and accessed. We'll also develop a governance framework as well to ensure that data consistency, quality, and security are all kind of kept as they should be. One of the key decisions as part of this is to kind of consolidate your data into a centralized storage solution as well. So with Fabric, that's one lake, and then we identify the key data sources that you have, such as customer relationship management systems, enterprise resource planning systems, or if you're kind of in that sort of space, kind of Internet of Things devices as well. All of this can be easily connected to Fabric. The next step in this is then to integrate these data sources and start ingesting the data. So this can include internal systems like databases or cloud-based apps, as well as sources that are even external to your organization as well. Using the Fabric, kind of the inbuilt Fabric version of Visual Data Factory, will set up automated data pipelines to ingest and transform the data. The key here is to establish smooth and continuous data flows that keep your information up to date, ready for analysis without manual intervention. Start with the key sources, and then as you grow, you can scale up kind of what those are as well. After ingesting the data, it's important to ensure that it's in a format that's usable and insightful. So Microsoft Fabric offers built-in data engineering tools that allow us to clean, transform, and organize data into valuable, structured data sets. We'll also set up automated ETL processes to continuously update the data, so you can be sure your analytics reflect the most current version of the information available, which of course is really key. The worst thing about a data platform would be working with out-of-date data. So this data will then be stored in one lake for centralized access, which will serve as your central repository. So whether you have structured data like customer records or unstructured data like logs or documents, one lake ensures everything is organized and easy to access. This centralized storage just simplifies data management and enables better collaboration across departments, making it easier to find and analyze data. So then it's kind of for the exciting part where we start to turn that data of yours into actual actionable insights. So we'll use things like Azure Synapse Analytics, which is also kind of built into Fabric, for doing large-scale data processing and querying. And then we can also use machine learning as well. From that, create predictive models to identify trends or forecast future outcomes. These AI and machine learning capabilities allow you to move beyond just descriptive analytics to more advanced kind of data-driven decision-making that looks towards the future. And then with this data that's being kind of ingested and transformed to models, we'll then look to kind of create actionable insights for your organization, and we'll do that by integrating Power BI, which we use interactive dashboards and reports. These visualizations allow your team to kind of explore data, track key performance indicators, gain insights at a glance. You also get real-time data access with this and self-service analytics. That means that decision makers don't have to rely on IT teams for basic reports. This democratizes the data and empowers everyone to make data-driven decisions. And then I feel like I've really kind of hammered this home, but I'm sure everyone appreciates the importance of this. But security is top priority, and what we'd ideally look to do is then set up Microsoft Purview as well for data governance to make sure that your data is secure, compliant, and also properly managed. So this includes defining who has access to what data through role-based access control, as well as ensuring encryption and privacy standards are met. And again, we'll ensure that your data adheres to any regulatory requirements such as GDPR or HIPAA. So, Fabric isn't just about the data as well. It's about enabling collaboration on that data too. which is just essential for kind of ensuring that you're getting insights that matter across the whole business. With user-friendly tools like Power BI, even non-technical users can explore the data and make informed decisions. This approach helps break down silos and ensure that everyone from executives to analysts has access to those same insights. And then once the platform's live, that's kind of just the beginning of the journey. So we'd recommend continuously monitoring its performance and data quality and user engagement. The goal here is to identify any bottlenecks or issues early and resolve them quickly. Additionally, based on feedback and usage patterns, we can then continue to refine data models, reports and processes. By us providing ongoing support and training, we can also help ensure that your team is fully equipped to use the platform and adapt to any of the changes themselves. And then finally, as you kind of look towards the future and as your kind of organization's data needs evolve, Microsoft Fabric can scale with you. So, whether you need to add more data sources, users, or advanced features, the platform is flexible and ready to grow. We'll also keep an eye on emerging technologies like new AI tools or automation features that can further enhance your analytic capabilities and just make sure that you stay ahead of the curve with this. So that's it from me. Hopefully you've found that an informative introduction to Microsoft Fabric. What I'm going to do now is hand over to Paul, who's going to show you some of Fabric actually in action with some real-time analytics. And then at the end of that, we'll have time for questions.
Thanks, Thomas. Hi, everyone. My name is Paul Anderson, and I'm a technical architect at Formus Pro. Been with Formus Pro for about a year. My background is software development, which I have been doing professionally for over 25 years now. And recently I've been looking at Fabric to see what it offers. So I'll just let the slide catch up. Yeah. So I want to talk about really how events drive data and what that means to our business. And specifically with this talk, we'll focus on how data is captured, how we ingest it, what we do with it. I'm going to offer a short demo after this, but before I get into that, I thought I would provide some context into how data has changed over the years. I don't want to really admit how old I am now, but roughly when I first started professionally writing code, there was these big monolithic things that sat on people's desktops, and they were like 8-bit processors, and people were very happy with them. They processed data and met all of the data needs that people had. But over time, we've started connecting these computers, and that's led to an emergence of really heavily interconnected machines, which have led to cloud computing, and with that's driven up the computational power that's available. And now where we are at, we have AI and big data, where we can utilize all of the data and computational power to provide predictive modeling, which can really dramatically transform how we do business nowadays. So going back to the overarching topic, I want to just consider what event-driven actually means. I guess to an extent, all data is really event-driven. I mean, that could mean that somebody changes address, and that could lead to a data change and the way that that's captured, or it could be something more dramatic or something more requiring higher bandwidth with higher throughput, such as stock market data changing constantly. But when data changes quickly, it's important that our organization maintains pace with the cadence of these changes, so that we can make informed decisions around what we do. So how is this data captured? In real-time systems, data changes are published in a flow which we call data streams. Recipients of the data open a channel to the data source and just basically listen for any updates that the source system reports, and we then ingest that, and then we use that and update our records or act on that accordingly. Ideally, we want to get that data where where it's relevant in real time or near real time with as low latency as possible. Some systems are more critical than others in that regard, stock market being a good example. Fabric can capture, as Thomas mentioned quite eloquently earlier on, that Fabric can capture data from a number of different sources, and most of this is just out of the box with no code. So what does Fabric offer? Fabric's still relatively new. I think it's maybe been around for a year and a half or so, so we're still getting to grips with it and still finding our way with it, but it's emerging, in my opinion, it's emerging as the best-in-class data and analytics platform out there. All of the reasons that Thomas cited earlier, I think, are relevant in that regard. And to kind of demonstrate that, I was going to move on to a quick demo to show how easy it is to get up and running. So we can have a look at that now. This demo will show you how to create a new workspace in Fabric, create a new event store, add a KQL data store, add a data stream, which Microsoft have set up a bunch of sample data feeds which we can utilize for this, and then draw upon that to create a real-time dashboard and and set up alerts on our data streams. So without further ado, hopefully the demo gods are kind, and we can move over and I will share my screen. Okay, I'm hoping that everyone can see my screen.
Looks good. Absolutely.
Good. That's always reassuring to hear. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've set up a. By the way, I should have mentioned that Fabric, if you want to try it out, is just available. You can load it. You can create an account and just log on. You don't need to give password credentials, as far as I remember, and you get like a trial. I've got 46 days left on this trial, but I set this up just to do a little demo and do this walkthrough. So let's create a new workspace. A workspace is, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Azure, but it's analogous to having a resource group. You can have many workspaces within the same capacity, and you can stop and start them, and you can as you want to just adjust the computational pool that you're using or resources that you're using. So let's just call this, what will we call this? We'll call this Fabric demo. I'm just going to leave all of the other stuff to default. And this is my new workspace. It's nice and empty. So let's change that, and we will move and we will create an event house, which is just a store. So we'll just call this Fabric EH for event house. I'm not going to be too precious about naming conventions on this. That would be something that would give more consideration to on a bigger scale project. Okay, so that's that created. Now, what has this done? This has added a KQL database. So it mandates or provisions a database for you automatically. There's nothing in here just now. It's effectively empty. So let's have a look at that. If I go back to my workspace, and let's create a new item. And what I'm going to do now is add an event stream. I'll just call this Fabric ES. So this is as I mentioned in the sort of contextual slide earlier, this is the stream which we'll use to attach to a feed of data, which is really propagating all of the changes and stateful changes to data from another system. Out of the box, Fabric has a lot of options. You can use external sources, you can use custom endpoints. I'll leave that for another day, but for now, just to start off, we'll look at the sample data that Microsoft provide. I'll give it a name. We'll just call this Fabric data stream. And in here, I am going to take stock market demo. There's a few different data sets that you can play around with out of the box, but I'm just going to use this. Okay, so now this has added my stream. I am going to change this so I can add a destination for this. So I'm just going to put this into the event house that I've just set up. So we'll just call this Fabric Dest. And actually, I'm just going to do a direct ingestion, which will basically infer all of the data for me. So that's just the quickest and easiest way to set this up. You can do more elaborate things, but again, that's for another day. So we'll just call that destination. And add this to this workspace, Fabric Demo. There's my Fabric event house, and I will choose the KQL database, which that has provisioned for me. This tells me that it's going to require some further actions after I've published it. So I'll ignore that for now. I'll publish this. And this might take a little while. Okay, so that's done that. So it's warning me that this is unconfigured. So let's change that. And what's the problem? I don't have a destination. So let's create a new table. We'll just call this Fabric stock market data, stock data. Let's go with that. There are advanced filters here, and I can change the start date. So I might just do that to make it quicker in case that delays anything. So let's just take, I don't know, a week's worth of data from there, and we'll just go next. And that just takes a little while, unfortunately. Okay, cool. We are finished. So I can have a look at this. I can edit my columns. That all looks right. I could change the names here. I could change the types and where they source from. And there's also transformations baked in. Now, this is quite interesting. This has detected that this is a string, and it's going to convert it into a date time. So it's using this mapping transformation here, and it's going to convert it to a date time. So that's quite cool. It just happens, it's inferred that and just apply that. So I'm going to apply that. I'm going to finish that. And once this is finished, creating and provisioning the data connection, we're all good. Okay, close. And hopefully that warning goes away. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my workspace, and let's go to Fabric Demo, and let's have a look at our database and just make sure that our database table has, yes, there can sometimes be a little bit of lag whilst that populates. Yeah, let's just leave that for now. But what I want to mention here is just that once this does populate and once that comes through, I can turn this feature on, which allows that to be consumed by anything within that one lake estate. So that could be a Power BI or whatever you want, really. There's lots of different sources that you can attach to that will make that table, that data available in there. So let's see if we can query this again, show any. Hey, right, okay, we've got data now. This is good. Okay, so here, just to kind of give a bit more information on this is, I think we've got 3 stocks coming through, repeating and showing bid prices and some various other information around that over a kind of temporal data set. So we can see, that information. Okay, so let's go back to our workspace. And so we now have our event stream, we've got our database, and we have our event house. Let's create a new item, and this time we'll create a real-time dashboard. And we'll just call this Fabric Demo Dash. Okay, now this is empty. So first of all, we need to attach a data source. So let's add that data source. And Fabric EH was the one we just created, I believe. Okay, let's add that. You can add multiple data sources as well, so you can do all sorts of aggregations and correlations between different data sources and sets. This is looking a bit sparse at the moment, so let's add a tile. Now, this brings up a KQL window. I don't know if everyone who's familiar with KQL, there's really good support for Copilot for writing KQL queries, but I'll just show you a couple of little hacks that I find quite useful. So I like to just see what tables I've got available within this kind of current estate. And for scope, here we have the one I've just created, Fabric Stock Data. So that's quite useful just for showing that. So let's paste that up there, and then let's see what's in there just to remind ourselves what fields are in that. So this this commandlet here, get schema, allows us to interrogate the schema, so I can see all the field names, what type they are, and so forth and so forth. Okay, once I've got that, I am going to pull over a KQL query I prepared earlier, and I'm just going to paste this in here. What this is doing is getting the average price by symbol, by stock symbol, and ordering it by time, and grouping it by time. So we'll get the average price on every time that a bid has been made. So let's pull that up. Okay, we have data. So far it's mildly interesting, maybe, but let's enhance that a little bit by adding a visual. So the defaults to table, I'm going to change that to be a line chart, I think would work. And look, we have all of our data plotted quite nicely of average prices for the bid and sale prices, bid prices, I think your bid price over the data set range that we've got. So I'm kind of reasonably happy with that. I am just before I do, I can apply those changes, but just before I do, I mean, you could change that. This is why I've left this in, so I could just filter it on one stock, which will make the, recalibrate the axis. So I just want to show that it does that automatically, which is quite neat, I think. So yeah, let's just leave it with that, so I can track all the three stocks together. We'll apply those changes, and lo and behold, we have a dashboard. I'm just going to change the name because that's, just call it our stock picker. And we'll apply those changes. Okay, cool. But one problem we do have is that this seems quite static. What is going on here? Well, we need to change this a little bit further, and we can just simply set auto refresh and mark that as enabled, and I'll just set it to continuous for the purposes of this demo. And now look, you can see that it's just refreshing, and we should see that light. Maybe it's better if I make that bigger. We should see that feed just populate, which is super easy. Obviously, this is a contrived example. The data that your individual organization would be interested in is going to vary, but the takeaway here is that it's quite easy to plumb in different data sources and apply those changes, and that's there. So let's progress this a little bit further. I'll go back to home, and we will add a new tile. And this time, I'm just going to contrive yet another example. I've forgotten the table name because I'm very forgetful. So we'll just use that hack again, get our data. And what we'll do this time is just pick out one stock that we happen to be interested in. And so I'm filtering on the symbol, and where it's like within the last day, I just want to get the highest bid price. So effectively I'm getting the highest bid price within the last day. Let's run this. Okay, there we go. That's that gives me that. I'm just going to add this to a stat chart just so that it draws it out in a slightly nicer way, and we'll just call this high price or something. Okay, let's apply those changes. Okay, now that's appeared on our dashboard. Now, again, not particularly interesting, but the point of this is that now I can set an alert on our high price. And the refresh is kind of getting in the way, so hopefully, there we go. Yeah, we can see that we can run this query every 5 minutes. We can set a condition and the high price, and the condition is greater than, I don't know, 2,400 or less. Like maybe we're interested in buying, right? So maybe if it's less than, 2,300 or something like that. Once that's in place, then you can message and send yourself an email or run a fabric item and extend it further. And that just kind of highlights how flexible this is and how many integration points there are out of the box, more or less. So that kind of brings me to the end of the demo. I just wanted to do that to kind of highlight how simple and quick that was, and hopefully that is a takeaway here, and how customizable it is. You can do all sorts of customizations and write like some very, very clever queries to get the data that you want quite effortlessly. So with that in mind, we'll just jump back to the slide deck.
Hey, Paul, any idea how big that data set was? I know that's just one of the sample things, but just give an idea of what scale is. I mean, this thing will handle anything you can throw at it, right? But
yeah, it will. I don't actually off the top of my head, but
okay.
It's big. I know that it's big. Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay.
We could probably find out.
Yeah, and sometimes these, we're showing a sandbox environment, which is not a production environment, and so yeah, we certainly we've got client experience that have some really impressive size data sets, and it's just it's instantaneous effectively. So anyway.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, I think the performance will scale with the SKU that you buy, so you can tailor that to the needs that you have. So yeah, this is just a trial SKU just to kind of get up and running. So I think we need to go back one slide, Thomas, if I can do that.
So this one?
Yeah. Oh no, go back for. Okay, never mind. I think we've taken it out. It's okay. Just go on. Yeah. So just to wrap that up, I think the question is really not for us as Formus Pro to answer, but it's really one for your organization to think about, and that's what I was hoping to prompt today. I'm hoping to ask questions rather than answer any questions today. This is just to give a flavour and an insight into what's possible, and what can be done out of the box with no code, virtually no code. Okay, there's some Custo code in there, but it's minimal. But again, that gives you the power to extend that as radically as you like. So that's all I've got to say, really. Hopefully that was useful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Paul. And yeah, hopefully that was just a tip of the iceberg. And I've been doing this a while myself, as well. And the fact that you're able to sort of do that on the fly that quickly is pretty mind-boggling to me, because I mean, this used to be that would have taken an extraordinarily long time just to put something like that together. So we want to give you an idea under the covers of how and what the tool set is capable of. Obviously, it comes down to the data sets that are important to your organization, and what can help drive things in your process, right? So, I do want to mention, I missed it in our kickoff here as well, is that I would give a shout out and kudos to our friends at Microsoft. So we work very closely with a group at Microsoft called Microsoft TSI, Technology for Social Impact. Reason why that's interesting is this is a group within Microsoft that's their sole purpose is helping nonprofit organizations and getting the best out of Microsoft technology. One of the things in there that's important is they have extraordinarily discounted licensing. So that makes this technology very accessible. And to us, it's always very exciting. We have these platforms and these tools that are used by the biggest corporations in the world. Our local and community-based nonprofits can get access to that same that same tool set, that same power at really affordable prices. And in fact, Microsoft has some things where they'll go out of the way to try and find a way to help. So with that, I don't think we had any other questions here. I was looking at the chat window here. And there's a couple there. No, so Paul, I'll read them to you and I'll let you bounce these. So yeah, so how fast can you take in the market tick data and create a chart with it? So I mean, is there kind of a limit, or how quick can real time can we get?
Yeah, so I'll kind of jump onto that one. It depends if that question is in terms of kind of like how big of a volume can you take in of the data, or like how quickly can you go from kind of data to having a chart with it. I think in both cases the answer is very quick. So Microsoft don't really set much in the way of upper limits with Fabric. They talk about like sizes of data, it's always in terms of petabytes. Like it's amounts that's almost inconceivable. I think when it comes to ingesting a data stream, depends on the nature of the data stream that you're working with. But I don't think it's effectively possible to kind of come up with a volume of data of real data that you're trying to ingest that Fabric won't be able to handle. But if it's meant in terms of how quickly can you go from that to kind of having a chart ready, hopefully kind of what Paul did sort of illustrated that a bit. The answer again is very quickly. It depends, how I guess how much kind of like preparatory work that you want to do, because it's one thing to kind of just represent it in a chart. It's another thing to kind of get that data ready to be, consumed across the rest of your organization. But kind of the takeaway is just that Fabric can handle it either way.
Great. All right, Albert, thanks for that question, and let us know if you need more there. Another question here from Wayne. So besides pulling tables into this workspace, do you have to create joins like you do have to do in a standard SQL data warehouse, or does it just figure it out? What's the magic of Fabric here?
So in this case, that was just a flat data set. There's other parts of Fabric that we could explore further. Not today, obviously we're out of time, but there's data factories which offer lots of transformations. They talk about something called the medallion architecture quite commonly throughout this, and that's the standard approach to this, where you can ingest data, transform it, and then produce semantic models on the other side, which can be used by Power BI or whatever you really want. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question. One thing that you can do, if you're familiar with SQL, you can use I think it's the explain keyword in Kusto, which allow you just to type a standard SQL query, and then if you prefix it with explain, it will translate that into a KQL query. But honestly, the Copilot support for Kusto is super useful. I'm still finding my way with Kusto. It's a very powerful language, or KQL, sorry. And Copilot the support in Copilot for it is phenomenal.
Awesome. And then, Thomas, I'll throw it back to you. So I don't know if you've seen the chat window. So Albert's got a follow up. I'll let you take it. And I used to be technical. I'm not allowed to answer things like this myself anymore, even though I might know. But I'll let you roll with
it. Yeah. So I've not personally worked on a project where we kind of implemented like ingesting data from a market feed. So I can't speak for the availability of kind of like stocks and shares APIs. If you've got one available, though, providing it kind of conforms to standard sort of authentication, you can start working it very quickly. Like as Paul's demoed, you can kind of get to that point in the space of minutes. In terms of storing those kind of like reports then afterwards, yes, absolutely. Fabric gives you an absolute ton of tools for kind of producing reports and dashboards. Paul's kind of just showing you one flavor of that. You can have it so you've kind of got a scheduled task that will kind of create these kind of like reports and store them away. So you've got like representations through time. You could also just kind of archive the data in that way. So you can always kind of, you could then create a dynamic dashboard where you can say, I want to look at the data at this particular period in time, and it'll base it on that.
Excellent. Okay. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. I committed to finish this on time here. I think we're actually in danger of doing that. So, all right. With that, and then a couple of people have asked. We will absolutely publish a recording of this, and our team, we've got your contact info. We'll reach out and make sure you know where that is. And then absolutely, if you have other questions, we'd love to talk to you. So, I mean, this is what we do all day long, is help our clients figure out how to get the best out of this technology that's out there. And sometimes we can create some things that maybe you haven't thought of before. So reach out. We'd love to talk and learn more about your needs and figure out how we can help. So, Thomas, Paul, outstanding. Thank you and thank you for everyone attending. And we hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.